keeps watching me.
Brings us to Parks and Rec. Charles Wilson.
I handed you out a piece of paper here for a new addition to the city park. I think this will be an excellent addition to our park. I mean, they have this at Shirley, it's free, but I want to charge a little bit for the camping just to take care of some porta potties and some trail building expenses. That way it's not coming out of my Parks and Rec's budget. And we pretty much got it narrowed down right there in that deal. I mean, it's...
The narrative that I saw is, we went down there, that 9 acres that we own up the park. It's a good way to clean it up, use volunteers, do things in-house. It's a really good, I think it's a great idea.
Yes, I mean, I've already got so much interest from the Boy Scouts, it's unreal. I mean, they're talking about camping and doing work days already. And,
Well, as long as it's not costing, and it looks like
yeah,
it won't.
I mean, it is going to be an honor pay system. I mean, whoopee if 100 or so people pass through the cracks. They've not cost us nothing. I mean, this is just an addition to the park, so some of our local folks that can't get into Choctaw Lake, or people who like to come to the rivers and camp and wade fish, the kayaking business. I mean, if you want to kayak the river and spend all day kayaking the river, you don't have to worry about loading up and going to the house. You can just sit in your lawn chair there at your campsite and get up the next morning and finish fishing, or kayak on down into the Johnson hole.
So it's not connected to Nature's Conservancy, to the park, it's what land
They
we
gave
own?
this to the city. We have
Where is this land that
solid
you're thinking
80.
about?
Right behind the first bank.
Walked into the concrete walking trail across the Patel corner bridge there, and then all the way up the
and
bank.
bang, you're into, and we're only using, I mean, we've just touched the.
It's primitive, you're keeping it primitive.
Yes, this is walk in, this is carry your tent, your ice chest, if you wanna take an ice chest. We'll have designated fire rings, there'll just be a certain amount of places to cook. If this works, we'll add 2. If it don't, we'll drop it, do away with it, and do something else. I mean, we've tried everything in the world to draw people in. This will draw a phenomenal amount of people to this town to camp and kayak. To ride tubes from the bridge down to the big part of the park. You can get back out, do walk path all the way back to the river, throw your tube back in the river, ride back down. The parents can sit there with their kids riding up down the river on tubes, what have you.
I would suggest to go look at it. They've got a pretty good tow home started, and I think this guy talked to Chad about it, and I don't see any downside of this. Like you say, if there's a snag or a snafu, you can drop it. Nothing.
Yeah.
You're not investing really anything.
Yeah, we'll close it down, what have you. I mean, I've talked to Mr. Willoughby. I mean, his guys have no problem. I mean, they can pull right up. They can keep an eye on the campsite. If anybody, if they don't want to use common sense and behave and enjoy the place, they're kicked out. They get evicted. I mean, it's that simple. This is just the luxury that, I mean, Shirley does it now and it's free, but you're in the sun. You're in a big field on the river. This is 10 feet from the river, completely shaded all day. Beautiful campsite.
It's just like camping out in the county, down on the river, but you can walk to McDonald's.
Yep.
You also have, it's kind of like, you know, my analogy is a deer hunt. You're not going to be run off. I don't know if we can be here or not.
Yeah.
It's a very simple deal.
Yeah. As long as you behave, you're not gonna be run off. If you come in there and pull your hammock up, throw your tent up, start fishing, swimming, what have you. I mean, the Boy Scouts are tuned into this already.
This is ideal for some of their projects.
They're loaded up on it. They're wanting to have the next Boy Scout camporee there.
We grew up fishing it, and it's a good old fishing hole. It's a good place. It's a good idea. I found out about it this afternoon, and I was disappointed. And I was like, man, that's a great idea. You need a motion and second just to explore this to go forward, or what?
I would like to go ahead and pass it in, and then if we want to add rules, I mean, we can add rules as we go, but right now, it pretty much, you got all the rules that apply to the city park, plus you have rules of designated fire pits only, quiet time at 10 o'clock, it's primitive camping. We'll have our signage up,
The honor system. How are you, who's gonna do the honor system?
we'll
What do you
have
pay?
a box, we will build a steel box,
October.
and it'll have envelopes. You'll put your money in the envelope, you'll write down your campsite, you'll drop it in the box, you're done. We come in the morning, check the box, give them the tag for their campsite, see how many days they're staying, you're done. I mean, if somebody's camping there, somebody's not gonna break into the box. And if nobody's camping there, there's not gonna be any money in it, so they're wasting their time breaking into the box. I mean, why get charged with $2,000 worth of fines for $10?
Not only, I have no issues with it as an idea, but on timing, Richard called me about it today. My first thought was, we probably need to look at the code and make sure, prohibit that we want to start doing, and if there is, we can amend something in the code if we need to. My thoughts, I don't know if we have anything in Philip, I don't know if you know. Without going back and remember, do we have anything on camping right now?
It's not allowed in the park as of.
Yeah, that was my first thought, is I bet it's prohibited, so we're gonna need to amend our zoning.
And I think that's what
Additional
he's
parts A or
suggesting
B.
too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we could put an ordinance together, me, you, and maybe Philip too, because, and we put an ordinance together the next month. I have no issues with that, but I don't know that I think we probably need an ordinance to tweak a couple things that.
Yeah, I mean,
At minimum though, I think he would like to hear a vote of confidence from the council that they're willing to go
Move forward.
move forward with
I
it.
mean,
Got a motion right there.
I'll second it.
Second. Any other discussion? We can keep talking.
So we'll say 7 days max.
Richard, can we go ahead with that and not?
That's what I would do.
Let's take a motion second, say,
Now, they can
We're-
see
we're
this
in-
spot, move
get it in the
this
minutes
spot,
before it.
I was gonna do
That'd be
two.
fine.
There'll be
We have a lot of
lawyer
3-day weekends,
say,
and
well,
people are coming in from out
can't
of
do
town to
that.
go
Yeah,
kayaking
I
for 3 days.
understand that. We'll make sure we got.
Basically say when they get some time, they're fine to go down there and work on it. I would suggest every one of you walk out there and look at it, because
Oh, I'm down there.
it's a great idea. Well, you've talked about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just do a motion second to go ahead and continue improving our property, cleaning it up and get on the agenda. We had a motion second. It's kind of a vote of confidence that I think you're on the right track. Any other discussion?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be showing where the area's at, so it's like in the
Okay.
center of that
You come
concrete
in-
walking trail, or
You
it's
come into the city park and you got the new concrete edition we've done a few years ago.
be west of that?
You walk that path all the way down north. You walk all that path all the way down to where you get to that little old bench substation that has a loop in that concrete. Well, you just walk straight through and there's a little red bridge. That bridge has been there for a long time. And
I have
it's,
to go around the walking trail, I don't go up there in the woods.
well, it's been, it belongs to, the property that gaps between it belongs to Chuck Patel.
Okay.
I've had him down there today. He's given me permission to put in a walk path against the river all the way into this thing. So we can put in a primitive walk path. It's gonna be either aggregate or mulch walk path coming into this thing. We're gonna keep it as low-key and primitive as we can. I mean, and there's thousands and thousands of people that love to camp that way. The
So you
Boy
said
Scouts,
there's 9 acres there?
we have 9 acres that stretches from there all the way almost to the skate rink.
To the skate rink.
How many sites are you thinking about?
I'm thinking we can get almost 100 at where we're at right now, tents. They're gonna be 20 by 20.
And you can play with that number. You can say,
Yes,
well,
I mean,
maybe we'll
it may
do
be,
70 or
it may be 70 and give enough room to do canopies.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like your idea of, we can build a pavilion at some point in-house. And you don't
Yes.
have to go spend $100,000 to build a $15,000 deal or $10,000 and
there's no
lots of
electricity.
dollars.
There's gonna be no running water. It's primitive camping. It's just like you wheel into the Buffalo River. In fact, we were calling it the Little Buffalo today. I mean, it's just like you wheel into a campsite at Buffalo River.
Take a bath.
Well, it's a good little area.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I've fished it ever since I was when I was a kid.
It can be developed into something great. And, I mean, I was gonna cut it back to 2 days, but we got to talking, there's a lot of 3-day weekends. So if you pull kayakers in from another town or another state that wanna come and do our river on a 3-day weekend, they can spend all 3 days kayaking our rivers. They can camp there, go canoe Shirley, they can come in and canoe our river, anything that's available.
I like the fact that you can spend all day in the same body of water, basically, just like you used to.
And never leave the city park. You can spend all
I
day
think it's a
too
great
and never
idea,
leave the
so.
city park. We got a 1.5 miles of river, some of the best fishing and the best swimming, and nobody's ever used it or utilized it.
And all the rules that, park rules apply.
All the park
to that.
rules will apply to that.
And I don't even know what the rule, I mean, I don't know if they don't.
Pretty much common sense.
We don't have alcohol, and that's a park, I think. Do we ban tobacco products or no?
Yep.
Okay.
But like I said, they can
Here's
walk,
to that,
they can walk out, they can walk out of the campsite onto Chuck Patel's property and smoke them a cigarette.
Yeah, that's what I have. You can build your own stuff without a grant and just see Chad for the town. So we have a motion, a second discussion, just basically just giving permission to keep going. So I'll entertain it. I'll ask for a roll call now.
Lawrence? Shirley? Yes. Christie?
Yep.
Lynch?
Yes.
Pistol?
Yeah.
Ward?
Yeah.
Who's watching? Who's watching me?